Hello everybody, it's San here, engineer, MBA, and investor. And in today's video, I just want to give a recap about everything that's happened in the past week, past 2 weeks, sort of, give us a good perspective of what to expect and basically have a really nice video where we can summarize the action and some latest findings I found today that I think some of you will find definitely useful. Now, before we do that, before we talk about today's video, you guys know the algorithms, how YouTube works. Like this video, smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't. It really helps this channel. And if you have any question, feedback, input, leave it in the comments below. We try to read and respond to every single comment out there. So, obviously, CRISPR Therapeutics, their data with their CTX110 program sort of shook the grounds, CRISPR's landscape. Data was okay, safety was definitely there, but efficiency was just not there, what people were expecting. And at this point, when you have a company worth $7, $8, $9 billion market cap without a single product commercialized, then you have these expectations that are put by Wall Street analysts, by legacy analysts, and it's just unfair, right? I really find this to be unfair. I already expressed my thoughts in the previous videos this week. I made back-to-back videos. Consider watching them if you have a little bit of time today. So I just wanted to really briefly explain that in this video. And basically, the stock is trading at $97 a share. It has been hit very hard since early this year from its all-time peaks. We're looking at, what is it? It peaked at $220, right? So this is a well over 50%. It's like 60% down since then. And you guys got to remember, right? If it's down 60% to go back to $220, it has to increase by 120%, right? Basically double from what it dropped from. Just keep that in mind, right? The recovery will be a long recovery, right? Don't expect this to increase like back to its all-time highs within the next month or two, unless there's drastic results, unless FDA approval comes by. I actually think the next catalyst will be FDA approval. I strongly believe, like Dr. Sam mentioned in his interview with Seeking Alpha that we also covered, is that Vertex, because they own 60% of the program now since the revision earlier this year, Vertex is sort of pushing with regulators to have this approved in the next 18 months at most. 18 months, that puts us about end of 2022 or earlier in 2023, right? The first half of 2023. So I think that's going to be the next catalyst. I think we have a long way to go here. But again, not financial advice. You guys have to do your own research. And then I was also watching this interview here. I'm switching topic here briefly, but this interview here with Gad Saad, Professor Gad Saad. He's actually from Montreal, Lebanese Canadian. And Gad Saad is involved with philosophy. He's involved in a bunch of topics there. But he's had an interview with Dr. Urnov, which we've covered. Dr. Urnov's paper earlier this year. Actually, it was one of our first dozen videos. We covered Dr. Urnov's paper, and Urnov here is giving basically an interview here with Professor Saad, and it's really good so far. I haven't watched obviously all of it. I'm going through it today. If you have watched it, let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think. But it's really nice to have this type of exposure for CRISPR. You have these professors unrelated to CRISPR space, unrelated to biotech genomics, but really covering the space because there's something that's boiling up, right? You finally have something, a technology that can eradicate specific diseases at least, right? You talk about sickle cell disease, beta thalassemia with, for example, CTX001 from CRISPR Therapeutics, literally curing over 50 patients as of today, 2021, 17 October. They have already cured over 50 patients. That's 50 patients with families, communities, societies, taxpayers, all of that. You have to consider that, right? Yes, it's a small amount still compared to what it can achieve. And we talked about how they can achieve about 1,000 patients a year as they go commercial. But we're so early in the space. I just love it, right? And just reiterates to the point where I think investors are looking at this company, CRISPR Therapeutics, for example, at a very narrow lens. I think we are so early in this space, and I think you have to expect that, right? In a space where money flows in and out, where you have institutions pouring big money and pulling out when things get rough, when things get a little bit under expectation, you have to expect these types of price actions, right? You definitely have to expect it. Is this something you would want as an investor? Absolutely not. But this is the real world, and we have to live with the realities of our public markets. And honestly, anyone who's been in the public markets for a significant amount of time know that this is not just applicable for genomics, biotech companies. Tesla went exactly in the same route. Fintech companies are going through exactly the same route as well as we speak, and even energy businesses. And I know tech companies like Facebook, for example, Alibaba is going through something like this right now. Although these are different circumstances, completely different companies, different verticals. I'm not trying to make a one-to-one ratio comparison here. It's definitely apples to oranges at that point. But the idea that the public markets react negatively when things aren't going perfectly well, I think that's been happening across all industries, and it's something you should be expecting as you go forward with this space. Again, very risky space. You have to do your own research, as we keep repeating throughout our videos in the recent year. There's this article here from Ben Howard. We've covered some of their articles in the past from Seeking Alpha. I really enjoyed this article. It really goes over CRISPR therapeutics. This article was published basically as CRISPR therapeutics reported quote unquote poor results of efficiency with the CAR T cell therapy for CTX110. And this article really talks about the investment thesis, the technology of what CRISPR therapeutics are doing, the Nobel Prize winners, Emmanuel Charpentier, Jennifer Doudna, legendary individuals that really were the foundations of what we call CRISPR-Cas9 at this point. And there's a great article here. Highly advise you guys to go over it. These types of articles, again, it's really important to have this type of coverage because you have all these investors, all these legacy institutions, investors are looking at the space. They're like completely puzzled. They don't understand what's going on. They just think it's another Zymergen/Terranov story, right? But this is a complete different thing happening. Again, I always go with the specific sentence claiming that CRISPR therapeutics, for example, have already cured over 50 patients from 2 specific diseases that require a lot of maintenance costs. There is no alternatives, IV fusions, some of them die very early, lifespan is reduced. They're already doing that, right? This is not just a prototype. This is not just something that, it's in textbooks and it's nice in research papers. This is being applied right now in patients today as we speak. And really the only hurdle at this point is making sure that long-term safety data is presented to the FDA and that the FDA regulators actually approve the first CRISPR drug. That's basically the biggest hurdle right now, the biggest challenge. And to me, I think this is an easy challenge to overcome. You have a backing of a company like Vertex worth over billions of dollars a company. You have the resources there, you have the experience there, and ultimately you have the leadership like Dr. Sam, the CEO of CRISPR Therapeutics, that can propel CRISPR Therapeutics to expand. I would love to see CRISPR Therapeutics do other things than just be laser focused for their current programs. For example, adopt some sort of base editing, even make an acquisition. I've sort of speculated that they should be acquiring Graphite Bio potentially, considering Graphite Bio is now worth, I think, $700 million market cap. They could literally flat out buy the company with their $2.5 billion cash. Obviously not at that valuation, but maybe at a $900 million, $1 billion market cap. They can buy it flat out, get the talent, acquire the company, get that PR now that they own the second generation of CRISPR, and then from that side, they can actually increase their valuation. This is what I call the Spotify strategy with Joe Rogan, right? Spotify paid I don't know how much for Joe Rogan. It's $200 million, something like that. And literally overnight, they increased their valuation by $1 billion, which is crazy, right? Just keep that in mind, right? I know it seems there's something wrong to that. It feels like you're not acquiring for the right reasons. But if you can ultimately increase your reputation, increase your valuation just by acquiring and getting talent, ultimately, I think it's gonna be amazing. And anyways, investors do expect some sort of consolidation in this space. Anyways, you cannot just have many CRISPR companies coming out of nowhere. You need to have some sort of partnerships, and I think some of these companies will have some acquisitions done. But again, maybe too early. It's just speculation. Let me know if you think I'm too crazy about that. So last point on today's video here is CRISPR investors here pointed out that CRBU Biosciences Chief Scientific Officer, so the CSO, Stephen Canner, acquired 15,000 shares on Tuesday, October 12th. So CRBU Biosciences, one of their leadership top leaders, they're acquired 100,000, 50,000 shares. That's if you're trading that at $20. I don't know the exact figure, but just do the math. I think that at that price, the price was around $20 a share at Tuesday. It got hit hard from its peak earlier last month. So we're looking at this is gonna be well over $2 million, right? And you gotta, speculation, right? I'm not providing financial advice, but just think about it. Why would companies, as CSO buy over $2 million a share when the company's been hit hard, right? Again, be greedy when others are fearful, right? That's the quote that legendary Buffett uses. But we'll leave it off like that. It's quite interesting that Caribou Biosciences is getting this type of exposure from their own leaders. I love when I see that, the insider pickup, because it shows that resilience, it shows perseverance, it shows that their own leadership are doubling down on it. But again, you can never make something out of nothing. Sometimes, it is what it is. If I was one of these leaders in these companies, I would definitely double down on these companies, especially when they've been down like 50, 60, 70% in some cases, like Graphite Bio. So we'll leave it off like this. Hopefully you guys appreciate this video. Again, just wanted to go over a quick recap. Highly recommend you guys to watch this interview with Dr. Urnov and Professor Saad. Lots of hidden gems there. Great description about CRISPR, high level. But again, reminds us about how important it is for these types of individuals, whether that's Dr. Urnov, whether that's Jennifer Doudna, whether it's all these authors, all like Isaacs, Walterson. You definitely want this type of exposure. It's amazing for this space. And again, this is what we do in this channel, guys, right? We try to increase awareness for free, right? That's all we do, right? We don't charge you anything. This is why all I ask you guys is to like these videos, smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't. That's all I ask. Because the mission of this channel is to raise the education for all investors so we can level out the playing fields, that we don't let these big institutions at this point run away with these big wins, right? No longer that can happen with YouTube, with social media, Twitter, Reddit, and so on. Now we can let all investors really have the same level playing field, and then ultimately you make your own decision. Right, so hopefully you guys appreciate this video. We'll leave it off like this. Hopefully you guys are having a beautiful Sunday. Last point in here, just a personal note. I don't know if you guys can caught that, but there's some, I sort of almost finished my bookshelf there. I was trying to have this background for today, some nice bookshelf, put some books, some decoration, make it look a little bit nicer. But as we started hammering the nails or whatever you want to call it, we got a complaint from one of our neighbors, right? We live in a condo facility, so there's many neighbors, and within like few minutes, we got the security guard of the condo complex, the facility, to come to our door, and they basically told us, hey, you're not supposed to be hammering today, right? And apparently you're not supposed to be hammering using a hammer other than between 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. on weekdays specifically. I find that really ridiculous. I just my opinion, right? I'm not sure what you guys think about this, but just my opinion. I understand we live in a condo facility. We have to respect our neighbors, and I understand it's a Sunday, but I think it's a little bit exaggerated, right? Not even a few minutes of hammering, and we get this complaint. Again, we live on a 23rd floor, so you got to remember, right? The person, literally like 2-3 minutes into it, the neighbor went all the way down on the first lobby floor, tell the security guard had to come up, and all of that happened within 10 minutes. So I find it really interesting that happened. I'm not sure if you guys ever had that type of situation. Maybe I'm just complaining, but just for the sake of complaining, but I just find that crazy. But anyways, we'll finish it tomorrow, so it'll be fine. You'll have a nice background there, hopefully. So thank you so much for watching. We'll leave this off like this. So have a beautiful Sunday, guys, and we will see each other in tomorrow's video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you.